Hello there to all the good people of Ohio and beyond. This is Aaron Knapp, and you're tuned into Unplugged, broadcasting without permission. This is a place where the truth gets louder and we dig deeper, and where we always remember be lawful, not awful. If you want the full stories, the documents, the videos, and everything they don't want you to see, head on over to AaronKnappUnplugged.com, my new home for every investigation, every episode, and every update. And while you're here, be sure to like the video, follow the page, and hit subscribe, and share this with someone who needs the truth. We're building something real here. We're building something fearless, and we're doing it together. Welcome to Unplugged. Let's kick this thing off.
All right. Good afternoon
Hello
or
there to all
good
the
morning, guys.
good people.
Oops, sorry about that. Good afternoon, there, folks. It's Aaron Knapp here. Somebody earlier said that they might like my posts a little bit better if I didn't include the intro songs. So I'm trying this one without the intro song just to see how it goes. So let me know what you think. And also, I don't know. I wear hoodies, so I'm sorry about that last part. Like, I'm not trying to look like a hooded gangster. I feel like I'll look pretty good. But anyway, I really welcome you guys here for showing up today. Thank you very much. Today, we're going to go over an interesting case. So, this happened back in September. And I'm going to go over it a little bit with you, and then we're going to get into the video. So, I'm going to be going over a case of James Mauricio. Now, James is a gentleman who went down to the Lorain City Hall, and he's had several run-ins with, law enforcement and the likes. And he's been in that court before on the second floor of Lorain City. And he went down there on this particular day, and he had his camera out and was videoing his transaction at the second floor clerk's office. Now, as all of us know, that's legal, right? He's in a public building. Now, some of the fights that I've been involved in lately in City Hall have been, and in the past, have all revolved around their procedures for entering City Hall. Now, what the problem has become is that initially, when Sanford Washington was there, this is where my advocacy started. They were trying to make you sign in, which I said, you can't. I'm not signing in. I don't have to give you my information to enter my building. Well, I went all the way to the Court of Claims to get that record because it created quite a problem. And I did that review. I've done a review. It's on my page of what occurred that day when I tried to enter City Hall with Lieutenant Swanger. You can check that video out, and I'll try to remember to link it in the comments. But that led to the current situation they have, where they brought in Ray Carrion, and Ray Carrion is actually the one that is putting this new policy in place. Now, the new policy states that you got to tell them where you're going. You need an appointment. There's all these random checks and balances that you needed before going in. Now, I challenged it pretty much the first chance I got, and I'm sitting here thinking that it fixed it, because when I come in now, they just say, do you know where you're going? If I don't know where I'm going, I ask. If I do know where I'm going, I don't. If I'm just going to wander around and take pictures, I would. But in James's case, he came that day to get some very specific stuff. He's been working on an appeal and against Judge Mihok, the judge involved in this, which you're going to see in these videos. And the more disturbing part about all of this, and if you go to my website and my Substack and anywhere on there and look up, Mihok files, Mihok case, James Mauricio, you'll see I've done an extensive amount of work on this case. I'm going to give you the background real quick. So after this happens, you'll see everything that happens here. I'm not going to spoil it. James ends up in jail on contempt charges, and we're going to get more into that later, but I'm going to give you the background on this. It caused me to start digging into Judge Mihok a little more. Now, Mihok's background is he retires in 2 years. Or I'm sorry, 2 months. He retires at the end of December when the new judge takes over. And so I thought this was just a mistake. So in James' case, what Judge Mihok did was he wrote on the paperwork that he was charging him with direct contempt, but he wrote he wrote the code for indirect contempt, or it was vice versa. He flipped the codes. Either way, that invalidated what happened. James was supposed to get due process, and he didn't. And so basically, what Judge Mihok did was Judge Mihok decided that because he was filming in the hallway in front of the clerk's office of his transaction, not in the courtrooms and not during court and not during the ongoing court hearing and not disturbing anyone. And the only reason they knew he was there was because they called up from the downstairs floor. Again, that whole policy of checking in. And they know James. And so next thing you know, James has got Judge Mihawk and his whole crew out there, and he's in the county jail. Well, that's at that point he contacted someone named Aiden Fogel, and Aiden Fogel is now a Sheffield Lake council member. Aiden and I haven't always seen eye to eye on a lot of stuff, and but Aiden apparently knows James, and so James had Aiden's number memorized, contacted Aiden, or somehow came in contact with Aiden. Aiden contacted Attorney Gargis, who also happens to represent me in matters when I want an attorney to represent me. And he contacted Garen Petty and myself. So that's how I got into the situation. Now, I already knew of James. James had reached out to me. I'd advocated for him before. He had asked me to advocate for him at City Hall and speak on his behalf. And Garen also was helping him. So wanting to keep those two relationships separate, I maintain my advocacy status with James. I like James. I think James is a good guy. I knew if I became friendly with him, it would be problematic for me to still be his advocate. And so what I ended up doing was later on down the line when this all came up, I looked up methodologies, and so did Attorney Gargis, who had already been contacted by him to say he was in jail, for ways to get him out of jail. And one of them was a next friend affidavit. That next friend affidavit led to a whole other train wreck of things, with an assistant prosecutor calling me a liar and saying that I wasn't a next friend. Well, the problem for her is that she was listening to recorded calls on a jail line, and I knew they were recorded, so I was speaking for my audience. So I told James things in that call and out loud that I wanted them to hear, because I knew they were going to listen, and I knew they were going to do dumb stuff because they were going to retaliate. And that's what they tried to do. They tried to discredit me because they said, well, in the audio, Mr. Knapp said he wasn't a friend of James's. You're absolutely correct, guys. I'm not a friend. I am a next friend, and a next friend in a social worker capacity is someone that advocates. It can't actually be a friend. If I were his friend like Garen, I couldn't be that guy. But they still dinked around, and Judge Freeman, which I really feel like you should call her Judge No Freedom or No Freeman, because she wouldn't free him. They wouldn't even give him a day in court. They wouldn't even bring him in front of a magistrate. They wouldn't give him due process. And so while they're all ignoring us and trying to file complaints and telling us that we can't do what we're doing, we send out Garen, the actual friend, with a notary. He's going to go down there and get the guy's statement, because basically they're saying that unless we get James's statement showing he can't get any sort of legal help in the jail, that my statement is invalid because of the way I somehow came into the case. I don't know. They were just grasping at straws, and the judge went with whatever the APA Prue said. And I had my own issues with APA Prue. She's mad at me because I've called her out, said she's like a dog pissing on my tree. And I told Tony Sillo, the prosecuting attorney of the county, to get her off my yard. And he asked me that one day on a phone call. I said, well, didn't you say this? And I was like, yeah. So get her off my yard, bro. Like, I beat her like 5 or 6 times back to back. I corrected her 5 or 6 times back to back in records cases where she had to walk it back and walk it back and walk it back and walk it back. So I don't have faith in her. And I've seen the way she operates. No faith. I have no faith in her. But anyway, so she starts getting involved because she becomes the APA for the county. She is the APA for the county and represents the sheriff, which brings me to Mr. Nietzsche, who is an attorney that works for the sheriff in some sort of symbolic role, I guess, as the civil counsel, even though that's not his role and he can't act in that role. And we've got a whole nother podcast on that I've got to do. That being said, he gets involved. He listens in on my jail call, which I told them the date to listen. And now he's, going to be, a witness in this, that, and the other against malfeasance. And they're trying to say, I'm basically the driving force behind all of it, that I'm writing all these motions, I'm doing all this stuff, and I'm just practicing law without a license, I guess, what they think. but that's not the case. I consult with an attorney who does the work, and there's nothing illegal about doing research and writing sample papers and doing all of that, as long as I'm not the one writing the case law. I'm being given the case law by the attorney. I'm being told what he wants, and in the end, he rewrites anything that needs to be rewritten or asks me to do it, and then he has to sign off on it. It's not me. But in this moment, you know, I wanted them to hear what they wanted to hear because that's what they wanted to believe. And so I just said, yeah, he does whatever I want. Come on, bro. No one's going to jeopardize their licensure like that. Maybe you guys are okay with that, but I'm not. And we have to go back that I'm a social worker and bound by my own ethical code to tell the truth. So in this moment, I was playing a part for them because I knew they weren't going to play right. And they have an ethical code. I have an ethical code. And so when she went back and said I was lying in my affidavit, which I knew she was going to try to do, I don't know what to tell you. So, eventually Bob and I, Garen got the certificate, of the affidavit, brought it back over to Robert. We refiled under a new case number, and they still were denying. And then finally, just Mihok called for a hearing or something, and they released James. No questions asked. Now, mind you, this guy got 30 days for videoing on his phone in a hallway of his transactions. 30 days. The other problem to all this is that 30 days was excessive. That 30 days he didn't get due process. He never went in front of a judge. He never got an attorney appointed to him. He never got charges read against him. They failed in every aspect of every point of due process that you could possibly think of, all because he was basically auditing them. Now, I'll say this much about James. I feel like, he watches what I do. He watches what other auditors do. And you'll hear that when he's speaking out loud in these videos. I give him a lot of props, a lot of credit, because he asked all the right questions, knowing that he was being videoed on these cameras in the courthouse. Now, my attorney and I, as I do, went and got all of these videos, right? We have every angle, every point showing what Judge Mihok did that day. The bigger story that needs to be told beyond this and this illegal detainment is this is Mihok's MO. So what happened was, as I started pulling that string a little, I started realizing, well, let me get all of his court cases. And I'm not even done with that expose yet. I got halfway through and still haven't come back to it. But I have filed agreements against him, and because he's doing illegal stuff. Basically, he's been swapping indirect and direct contempt in the numbers for a while. He has 51 cases that he has given people contempt for stuff they probably should have had due process. They definitely should have had due process for. And that's over 13 years, mind you. And I've got all 51 people. I've got all of the cases. All I had to do was ask the court for all the cases that Judge Mihok misclassified as direct and indirect contempt. And they gave them to me because they had to. So each one of those 51 cases, all those people over the last 13 years can now go back because the tolling period on their crime starts the day it's discovered. So now I've discovered it. So now they have 2 more years probably at minimum to go back and have their cases for contempt revoked. And I believe Mihawk's been doing this for a while, and I think it's intentional. If it's not intentional, then it's ignorance, and that's even worse because he's been flip-flopping to basic, codes and writing direct contempt on the paperwork, but then when you get to the number, he's writing the code for indirect contempt. So it looks like that person was in direct contempt, and direct contempt of court is doing something in the presence of the court, right? Like you have to be standing in front of the judge and be like, F you, Your Honor, or F this court, Your Honor. That's direct contempt, right? The judge could be like, boom, bailiff, 30 days, whatever, I can give it to him. Outside the court becomes the problem. And that's what Mihawk's been doing. That and just randomly charging people with contempt for whatever. If they say something he doesn't like, that's contempt. And then by misclassifying it, he doesn't have to give them due process. Hadn't have to anybody question his decisions. Because if he did it and said that's contempt, they're going to send it to another judge, give the guy a lawyer, he's going to have a chance to fight it. In James's case, for example, they would have come in and they would have said, "Hey, he wants his day in court." So he would have gone in front of the judge the next judge and been like, well, Your Honor, I wasn't doing anything illegal. I was on the second floor of a public building, an area that's not posted for no videoing. And in order for it to be posted for no videoing, would require the judge to put in a special order that was posted for all to see. They have those kind of orders in place up at the federal building where you cannot photograph inside the federal courthouse in Cleveland. I know this because I went there and there's signs and they wouldn't even let me take pictures of the signs. So you have to set a standard. And the other problem is, again, Mihok's been doing this for 13 years. The misclassification part, that's just straight invalidates everything. So from the get-go, his arrest was invalidated. So the officers, when they transported him, they did it illegally. Mihok, when he sent him, he did it illegally. The jail, when they held him, the sheriff, they did it illegally. Judge Freeman, everyone violated this man's civil rights up one side and down the other. And we've contacted a couple of lawyers here in Ohio in hopes to get him some help, but to no avail yet. So if you guys, after watching this, if you know an attorney that's a civil rights attorney, you know, have them reach out. Have them reach out to the channel. I'm in touch with James. We'll get him squared away. But, you know, my attorney fought, you know, we did so pro bono, both of us, to help him out. We made sure he had money on his books, money on his card so he could call us. And we made sure to fight in the courts. And what this was a miscarriage of justice. This was one of the grossest miscarriages of justice I've ever seen in my life. I think it broke my attorney a little bit too. I mean, I think it's broken a lot of people to recognize that a trusted member of the judiciary has been breaking the rules or the law for 13 years, his entire time on the bench. And that's not getting into the fact that in this process, I also realized he was doing the same thing for people who were, like, say you got a ticket and you failed to show up, but you had a good reason, you show up, and then Judge Mihok would just give you contempt. And he would misclassify those too, but you still, it's not direct contempt, it's indirect. You still would have had to go in front of a judge and get a lawyer, and it would have been cost, prohibitive to do this as much as he did. And when you look at the amount of contempts Mihok's given out, they're way more than an average municipality. Then on top of that, you start looking at, well, he's generating fees. And this was the end result of what I figured. So every year I did the calculations, and every year he was doing this scheme, he was bringing in an extra $5,000 to $18,000 in fees and fines a year. It's $384 per case per contempt. And you're talking that on top of other crimes. This is why it's so easy to get away with. When you look at the 51 people, and I did, they all have other crimes. Most of them minor stuff, but in a couple of cases, you'd be like, oh, that guy had a DV or that guy had that. So in your mind, you're like, well, he kind of deserved that, right? Well, no, that's not how the law works, all right? Like, we serve your time, do your crime, serve your time, then you're done, right? Like, that's what it's supposed to be, and that's what it's going to be. So when you tack on these extra charges, you violate their due process rights. You generate these extra fees for the city. Now, I want you to take into account something else I learned in Garen's trial through sitting through my buddy's trial up there when they tried to charge him for trespassing in a public building at City Hall and City Council meeting. And I heard a visiting judge talking to one of the bailiffs, and the bailiff, and he was asking, where do you work and who do you work for? Like an agency. He's like, well, no, I work for the court. So every bailiff that's on the second floor is employed by the Lorain municipal court, right? And they're funding it with their own funds. And so he has his own little police force up there. They're not accountable to any chief or anyone other than the judges. And I'm fairly certain a good chunk of that, that payment, I mean, if you're bringing in this extra money, where else is he bringing in extra money? I mean, again, I can't prove that part because I don't know, but why wouldn't I believe if you've done that here and you're bringing in 5 to 18,000? If I've got another 50 in contempts over here and you're bringing in 5 to 18 there, and let's just say you brought in, or 28 or whatever it is, and you brought in 28 to 18 in a year on that and that, now you've got enough to employ a full-time officer. You know what I mean? Like, these are the ways that you generate funds. You generate ticket funds, you generate municipal ticket funds, and you generate extra fees on top of those funds. You do bonds, and a lot of the times this extra money comes because he'll seize the bond. Like, he's just grabbing money hand over fist, and it's from poor people. Sure, they committed crimes. Absolutely. 1,000% agree. In most cases. In James's case, he didn't. He had before minor misdemeanors. And to top it all off, I found out in the midst of that, at one point I thought he had like 70 cases. Turns out he's only got like 30 because our clerk, of course, who we just reelected, Ted Kalo, who now knows that Mihok's been doing this because they had to send me the files, right? And the files clearly show it because I had to ask, give me all the misclassified cases, you know, and they gave them to me. So they know. And so now all these cases have to be readdressed. You guys haven't even addressed them. You haven't asked me for my evidence. You haven't engaged me to have any sort of useful, meaningful conversation about this fact that their judge has been violating so many citizens' rights in Lorain for so many years, and nobody has given two craps. And the fact of the matter is when they, and you'll see in this video, when they have and I'll point it out, when they have law enforcement transport him, now law enforcement has transported him illegally, and James has notified them of that. So there's a lot of issues going on here that I think you guys really will take a good hard look at this next set of videos that I'm going to play for you guys. I'm going to, play through all the videos and then we're going to get to it. So right now I've got them queued up, but just know Robert Gargis and I, we worked really hard to help get James out of jail, and he should have never been in jail from the get-go. They had no right to arrest him, no right to detain him, no right to do any of the things they did, no right to hold him. From the sheriff all the way down, they illegally held that man. They wrongfully imprisoned that man, and they did it all over a video, all over a stupid video. And they ended up keeping him in jail like 18 days. All while eavesdropping on our calls. I get it, they're recorded. But again, I was acting on behalf of his attorney. Say what you want. They did whatever they could to prove that something bad had happened, and then as soon as they finally dismissed, they sent him out back to the municipal court. The county court just dropped the writ of habeas corpus, which they shouldn't have. They should have actually followed that through. But Judge No Freeman actually didn't care because apparently she doesn't want to follow the law. Apparently she doesn't know what the law is. Apparently Judge No Freeman is all about keeping people locked up against their will, ignoring valid writs, because a writ of habeas corpus says you will bring them before you forthwith. That forthwith means like yesterday, not never. All you guys had to do was put this guy on a video camera and give him due process. That's all we were asking for. Give him a hearing. But no, that was too friggin' hard for you, right? You guys were it was too difficult to do your effing jobs, right? Had to be me. This is why they hate me. It's stuff like this. Oh yeah, I'm a troublemaker. He causes problems. What? No, my. You know what I mean? Like I swear, like it's this is the kind of stuff. You know what I mean? This is the kind of stuff I get right here.
I just want to remind people that your voice does matter, and people like that retard should not be in office, in my most humble opinion, because he just gets up here and bashes a damn former police chief. I'm talking. So, anyways, I'm gonna finish what I'm saying because I don't ever come here anymore. In my most humble opinion, a piece of shit. No. They need to know. This guy's in trouble.
So, I mean, again, guys, like this is the kind of stuff that they do here, all because I'm putting this stuff out, right? Yeah, I went after the former police chief because he went after me, you dummy. I mean, I just don't understand these people. But this is Lorain, Ohio, folks. You saw what Rivera did. Go back and look at the Swanger video that I posted. Go back and look at the Palmer Garrity interview that I posted. I posted Swanger's Garrity interview. I've now posted Rivera's Garrity interview. I've exposed most of these people for the criminality aspects that they have in their lives that they've refused to eject from them. I've given them all an opportunity to come clean. They just don't want to. So with no further ado, we're going to get down to the brass tacks of it all. And I'm going to start playing some of these videos. And I'm going to react as we go. All right, first off, I want to go back because this one starts out here, but I'm thinking If I can figure out, I should have put these in order. Holding cell. All right. Well, you know what? I've given you the background. I'm just going to say, I'm going to go through all these videos in the order they are here and react to them. I'm sorry they're a little bit out of order, but basically James comes in downstairs. There's a security checkpoint there. He goes upstairs. He's at the clerk's window. He's buying his stuff. You'll see Mihok come out. As these videos come up, I'll describe them to you and kind of give you a little what, and then we'll go from there. You're going to see him come in right now.
Oh my God. What the heck? So how's this thing shut off? Oh my God. I can't believe this. Just put it over there. Oh my God.
What he says.
Oh, fuck. Just relax. What the fuck? What is he doing? What the heck? Okay, stand up. I'm gonna take those cuffs off you. Stand up.
I handcuffed him.
Take those cuffs off you. I'm gonna take the property. Oh my God, no, nobody has a body camera? You saw me in the court. OMG. I'm gonna take your, you can take it off from me. I don't consent to search the seat. Well, you're under arrest, so you gotta do what you gotta do. Okay. This is an illegal arrest. I didn't break the law. He got you in contempt. Do you know how or why? What law is that break? That's not him. No body camera. Those got audio? Yeah. Yeah.
That's a problem.
This is crazy. You're an officer? You're a police officer? C. Hernandez, what's your name? Oh, I was on the other. You got a badge number? You work for the police department? I'm not really. Man. That's amazing. Can you count that for me? No, I'm gonna let you. Oh, you keep it. Oh, geez. Can I have my debit card and my ID? No, let's see. Oh, wow. Oh, goodness. You guys? Oh, no, this is amazing. Just relax. How can you relax when I didn't break the law? Just relax. Man. Contempt of court for coming to the courthouse. Coming to take care of business. I have no idea. Take off your belt.
I have no idea. He says.
This is crazy, bro.
It's ridiculous.
You shot that dog in front of me? Let's go. Oh, shit. I think you lied on that police report. You shot it in the legs. And I recorded it. But you told me you shot it. You put on a police report that you shot it in the center mass. You give it a 7, yes. Shot it twice in the legs. I seen your son doing time the other day. That's good. After a bullet, rocking on the river, do the right thing awards. Oh my God, I can't believe this shit. Take a seat.
There's our boy James. Now he's going to sit in this holding cell for about 38 minutes before they come and get him. He kind of talks a little bit throughout, but I think the bigger point is further down the line when he starts to talk to the officers that come to pick him up. But
that's nuts. Completely nuts. I'm in contempt of court for what? What law did I break? How do you go in contempt of court? For going to the city courthouse?
Right? It's a good question.
Man, bro. 30 days in jail for going to the courthouse?
30 days, guys. 30 freaking days.
Wow.
And this is directly,
Wow.
just so you know. Obviously.
This is crazy.
I mean, we got the good part there that we needed on that, I feel like.
There goes my freedom.
You can see this in its entirety on my page if you want to watch it all. Anxiety. Anxiety is real. This next part he talks about we're going to take away his freedom. I just want to try to get to that.
This is nuts, man. There goes my freedom. This is nuts. This dude came up off of the bench. This is the second time.
And he did. Mihok got up off his bench in an empty courtroom to come out in the hallway, and we're going to see that here in a minute.
Wait. Consider what you just did, bro. Didn't break no law, bro. Ain't breaking no security, nothing. That's crazy. Didn't break no law, bro. This is nuts. Please reconsider what you just did, bro. Please. I wasn't even in the courtroom to do contempt. How do you do contempt?
How are
It's
you
gotta be. There's
correct
no way.
contempt when he was at
This nigga left me with a lighter in my pocket. Tomato. This is nuts, bro. Can't believe this shit, bro. What law did I break? He could have come up and talked to me, like should have came up and talked to me, but not fucking arrest me. That's taken away from my life, bro.
I love
That's not.
that shirt. Clutch Busters.
I didn't break no law, bro, to be in contempt.
He's right. He didn't.
I don't think you can just go up to somebody in the courthouse and say they committed contempt.
You can't.
This is crazy.
It's kind of illegal, especially when you get the codes wrong.
Absolutely ridiculous.
I agree, James. It is absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely ridiculous.
Absolutely. I mean, I sit here and I listen to whatever answer they're giving, and I'm just like,
a bullshit, a bullshit, a bullshit, a bullshit.
Cisco down here wearing a cowboy hat. Man, you guys are killing me, bro. Don't kill me, though.
Yeah.
This is crazy. I ain't never hurt nobody, man. All I'm doing is getting played by the fucking city. Completely. And he's trying to fuck my appeal up. That's what it is. He knows what it is.
It is.
If I'm in jail, I can't fucking fight my appeal. I had to come down here and talk. Oh, fuck.
He came down to get paperwork. And he's currently involved in
This is crazy. No phone call.
The only reason I found out, like I said, was because he got a hold of, eventually at the jail, got a hold of Aiden Fogel, who got a hold of Robert Vargas, who got a hold of Garen, who got a hold of me. Then we went and asked for all the videos. Unlike the police department, they didn't charge us $125 a pop, which was nice, or $125 to get them. I mean, I think you get the picture here. I think there's not a whole lot more.
Work. And be homeless. I ain't gonna have shit. I don't even. Fuck.
Yeah, homeless. Come on, attorneys. Step
There goes
up.
my job.
No job. He's got
There goes my $500 a week. That's crazy, bro.
What they're trying to do to him.
I'm trying to pay child support, pay rent, eat. That's crazy. Pay for transportation to and from work. Now, I'm fucking in a cell with some stinking ass motherfuckers. This is gonna fucking suck. Big time. Big time suck.
Yeah, we had to fight for, 18 days to get him out. Now the whole county, government apparatus hates me and Bob. Despises us. I mean, guys, you should call the Lorain Municipal Court and complain about this one. Like, I mean, again, go look at my story. Just look at the stories I did on him where I touch on the fact that Mihok's been doing this to people for a very long time. James isn't the only one. He hasn't been the last one. I've had other discussions with other people, both on and off that list, about his conduct on that floor. He runs that floor.
This is completely uncalled for.
It is. It was completely uncalled for. It was the biggest load of horse malarkey I've ever seen in my life.
The house there goes everything. That's crazy. Brown. What's your name? Turn around.
All right.
Is that for me?
These would be the police officers.
Just to change my bucket. Yeah, he has to go with all the business. What's your name? Brown. What's your name? Turn around. You guys got your body cameras on? No. There you go. Nothing's happening. Yeah, something's happening right now. I'm being arrested illegally. What's that paper say? Could you tell me? Is there any reasoning behind it? Like a description? Direct contempt. Direct contempt. 30 days. I didn't even go into a courtroom. You realize that? You don't know? Just transport?
Just transport. That's likely.
Man, this is crazy.
You're still
I
violating.
went to the second floor and I went to the police station and to the clerk's office, and then you come down there.
All right, folks, that brings us to the end of the main 1 hour or it's a 38-minute video there of him being held in the male holding cell. I've got quite a few others, but they're all shorter videos. We've got one more one more longer video and then several short videos that we're going to get through when we return from this break. We're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our sponsors.
Here at Unplugged with Aaron Knapp, we like to thank our sponsors. We have a few unofficial sponsors tonight, and they are definitely not paid sponsorships. I want to throw out there a big thank you to Joseph Jones and Eric Jones of the Lorain Daily and the Vermilion Daily. They have a local news page. You should check them out. They do plenty of great work broadcasting all the news that is the news that you want to have in Lorain and Lorain County. So check them out. Also, please, if you need any legal services, feel free to reach out to Robert Gargas. You can find him listed online. He's a fine attorney and comes highly recommended by yours truly. And last but not least, I want to mention D&C Radio. Please make sure you check out one of the up-and-coming internet hip-hop stations and all of their shows. They put on a lot of shows. You have the Never Outdone show. You also have the Eric Bowen show, Speak Up, Speak Out. So please make sure you guys check them out as well if you're looking for your latest and up-to-date hip-hop artistry. Thank you for tuning in. This has been a non-paid sponsorship brought to you by Unplugged with Aaron Knapp.
All right, guys. I'd like to give out a special thank you to the official BP cast. BP over there shared out our initial videos on the Rivera OVI. That wasn't an OVI, that was supposed to be an OVI crash where he crashed his patrol vehicle. If you haven't seen that video, check it out. It's in our queue here as well. But I'd like to thank him for throwing us out there tonight, and also to the civil rights lawyer John Bryant. Second time he's shared some videos that we put out, so appreciate him as well. And just remember, support the show. Aaron Knapp, www.aaronnapp, AARONKNAPP, unplugged, UNPLUGGED.com. And you can check out all the stories and more, and find many of our past podcasts as well on there besides just the YouTube page. So we appreciate you guys tuning in tonight. We're going to get right back down to the brass tacks here and get to the next videos. So here we go. All right. So this one here is just, I believe, the male holding cell, different angle.
I'm Laura, and I've ditched the 9 to 5 with Bluehost AI. With Bluehost AI-powered...
It has just the other side of this hall. So you're going to see him coming in. This is where they bring him in right here. This is where they're handcuffing him, telling him to stand up. They searching him. You know, they're going to take all this stuff. And then you've seen